Alright guys, so for this trick, if I had a spectator, I would go ahead and allow them to shuffle the deck as much as they would like to. So as you guys can see, this deck is completely shuffled and random. There's no way I could control any of the cards just like this, alright? So basically, if I had a spectator, I would go ahead and let them select any card as well. We can go ahead and take a look at this card. Let's say it is the 2 of diamonds in this case. We're going to go ahead and take the 2 of diamonds. I would let them also sign it if they would like to, but we're just going to lose the card in the center of this half over here. We're going to take this half, turn it face up, and we're actually going to proceed to shuffle these 2 halves together face up into face down, just like this. So now we have one half of the deck going face up and the other half going face down. Watch, if I just push the 2 piles together, now we have a complete mess of the deck. All the spectator has to do is name his or her card. The 2 of diamonds. Snap your fingers and you can see 1 card and 1 card only is left face down. The 2 of diamonds. That is the trick, guys. And now for the tutorial. Alright guys, so here's the tutorial for the trick that you just saw. So this is a very fun impromptu triumph effect, and this is going to be the tutorial for it. So all you're going to need for this trick is just a normal deck of cards, and you're basically all ready to go. So basically, you go up to your spectator, and you have them shuffle the deck as much as they want to. So let's say they give it a nice overhand shuffle. So when they're done, they're going to give you the deck back, and you're going to spread out all the faces to them, showing that the deck is completely random and shuffled. Now, what you're going to do is, normally when you spread out a deck, you square it up and you leave it nice and square. But what you're going to do now is you're actually going to spread out the deck showing all the faces, and when you square it up, leave it kind of messy. Don't square it up nice like this. You want to leave it sort of messy, alright? Just like this. You're going to hold the deck in biddle grip just like this with your hand, and your fingers here with your left hand are going to come over with the bottom card. They're actually going to push it over just like this, alright? So they're going to be pushing the top card of the deck over, just like this, alright? The card's going to be pushed over, and your fingers are going to be pushing down on it, and you're actually going to take the rest of the deck in your hand, and you're going to flip it over just like this, and the card is actually going to get placed on the bottom of the deck face up, just like this. So now the card is the only card face up on the bottom of the deck. So one more time, the deck is completely shuffled. So you spread through the faces, show that the deck is completely shuffled. You square up the cards, but leave it in a mess. Take the cards in biddle grip just like this. Push the top card forward, and you're actually going to be flipping the deck over, and you're going to be leaving that card there on the bottom facing the opposite direction just like this. The reason why you leave the deck in a mess sort of state just like this is that it hides the card when you're flipping it over, because if the cards were completely squared up just like this, the spectator might see that face-up card just like that in the deck. So to cover that move, basically you're just going to spread out the deck and just leave it in sort of like a messy fashion just like this. Then you're going to push out the card and flip over the deck, and now that card is the only face-up card on the bottom of the deck. So now the spectator is going to be allowed to pick any card in the deck as long as it's not the bottom card. So they can pick any card they want to. Let's say it's this card. And in a real performance, you are not going to want to look at the card. And also, when they're looking at the card, this is perfect misdirection to do your next move right now. So let's say they look at the card and you tell them to remember it. So they're looking at the card and remembering the 9 of hearts. What you're going to do is you're going to riffle down about half of the deck just like this. And you're going to set the top half of the deck down normally, but the bottom half, you're actually going to flip your wrist over and set it down. So it looks like you're just setting the pack down, but in reality, you're taking the entire thing and turning it over as you place it down. So you're going to be riffling down about half the deck. This goes down normally, and this goes down upside down. So you're just going to go like this. And now it looks like you've just, placed the 2 halves of the deck down on the table normally, but this is actually now face up with 1 card face down, but it gives the illusion that both of these halves are face down. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take the card back from the spectator. You're not going to look at it, but you're going to place it somewhere in the middle of this face-up half here. So you're going to place it in the middle of the cards, but you don't want to go like this. So you don't want to be like, all right, so place it somewhere in the middle there, because you want to hide the fact that all these cards are face-up. So you're just going to leave it on the table and sort of lift it up to yourself and place it in. So that will keep the cards hidden. Now you're going to square the card into the deck. And also keep in mind, this card might be a little bit bended just because of the natural way the cards are bended. And it might have a tendency to like spin or flash that card. So just make sure the cards are as square as possible and try not to like move the top card around too much, because you want to keep all these face-up cards hidden. So basically now what you're going to do is you're going to take the top half here, which is all just regular face down cards, and you're going to turn it face up just like this. you're going to place it there on the table. Make sure to keep this half square. And you're going to pick up the half just like this, and you're going to be shuffling the cards face up into face down. But in reality, you're just shuffling these together. So now you have basically an entirely face-up deck except for 2 cards. This card is going to be hidden anyway, and this is their selection. So that's basically what's happening. So now you're going to shuffle these cards face up and face down. So you're going to shuffle the cards just like this, and you're going to try and keep it as hidden as possible. You don't want to do a regular riffle shuffle where it looks like this, right? Showing all the cards. You want to do it on the corners of the cards, and that will make sure that the faces and the backs of the cards are all hidden from the spectator's eyes, so they cannot really tell that the cards aren't being shuffled face up and face down. One thing you do have to remember is that you have to end with the face up card on top. You do not want to have this face down card here on top. You want to end up with a face up card just like this. So now you're going to push the halves together and try and keep everything as squared up as possible, just like this. So just try and keep everything as square as possible. And now it looks like you have half of the deck face up and half of the deck face down. What you're going to do now is you're going to square up the deck completely, have them name their card. You're going to snap your fingers and you're going to spread the deck out just like this. And every single card now is completely face up, except for down here. There's only going to be 1 face down card down here, but if you spread out the deck, you do not have to spread out the entire deck. You can leave this top portion in like a chunk of cards. They will not notice this because all their attention will be on this part of the deck and their selection, which is now the only card face down in the entire deck, the 9 of hearts, just like this. So I'm going to go through the trick just one more time because this is a very quick tutorial, so I'll just make sure you guys can get the full gist of the trick. So basically, you have the deck here. They can go ahead and shuffle up the deck as much as they want to. So you're going to spread out the deck, show the deck is shuffled. You're going to leave the deck in sort of a messy state. You're going to take the top card of the deck, slide it out just like this, and you're going to flip the deck over, and that card is going to remain face up on the bottom of the deck, just like this, all right? So now you're going to have the spectator pick out any card in the deck. As they're looking at their card, that is perfect misdirection to do this move, where you split the deck in half, place this half face down normally, and this half is going to go down on the table, and you're going to flip your hand over. So that's perfect misdirection when they're looking at their card. They're going to give you the card back. You're not going to look at it, but you're going to place it inside of this face-up half here. So you're actually going to place it somewhere in the middle of that half, just like this. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take the normally face-down half, the top half. You're going to flip it face up, and you're going to shuffle all these cards together, face up and face down. Make sure you end up with this card on top right over here. And you're going to shuffle all the corners together so that's very hidden. And just make sure you end up with this card on top, all right? Now you're going to push together all the halves. And trust me, guys, it's very easy to keep everything squared up. It's just kind of hard on this table surface for me. Basically, guys, now you have half the deck face up, half the deck face down. But in reality, you have this situation here. So now you're going to push all the cards together just like this. And you're going to have the spectator name their selection. You're going to snap your fingers and you're going to spread out the entire deck just like this. And you're going to show that there's 1 card that is remaining face down. Their selection, the 4 of spades. So the deck is pretty much examinable except for like this card over here. But what you guys can do as they're checking out their card, you guys can just go ahead and flip over that card in the deck, and now you can hand this out to examine. So that is basically the entire trick, guys. So I really hope you guys liked this super cool triumph effect, and I will see you guys for my next video. Bye.